Now, car makers will be forced to meet strict mandates on the sale of electric cars under plans announced yesterday by the government.
From next year, motor manufacturers must ensure that 22% of their sales are electric vehicles. A target industry experts believe will be hard to achieve.
Well, we're joined now by the director of Net Zero Watch, Benny Peisner, and the director of HireMoreCar.com, Jeremy Feeney, to discuss this. So this mandate, Benny, this fixed amount of cars that have got to be produced, is it workable? Is it possible? Is it plausible? And is it, for the British public, affordable?
It's a no and a no and a no and a no. It's a bit like, the 5-year plans in the Soviet Union. It's a bit like that. They always, had these plans. They never achieved, and eventually it totally collapsed.
Jeremy, can I bring you in here about this? Because, I always thought that it was the customers who decided which car to buy. I didn't realise it was for the car manufacturer to tell people that a fifth of them have got to buy an electric car. So how do car companies force people to buy an electric car if they don't want to buy one to hit these targets? I just don't understand how that works.
Well, the industry will react to demand, or would normally react to demand. But I agree with the previous speaker that we've entered into the government trying to legislate about technology. And it's impinging on freedom to a certain extent, because a lot of the take-up on electric cars are people who have company cars, and there is a big tax advantage if you have a company car and it's electric. The problem is also exacerbated in England, because you've got London, which has relatively good public transport, and the rest of the country which doesn't. So you've also got affordability with electric cars, which is a major problem. And this is without going into the range anxiety and all the other difficulties. So the manufacturers are being forced by government action to build vehicles. And in fact, they at the moment are in a situation where a lot of what they're building are hybrids. So the chances of them meeting the 2030 deadline, I think, is remote. Even California has a deadline of 2035. At the moment in Europe, Volkswagen and the other German manufacturers, and in other words, Germany and Italy, are very much lobbying against European community rules and asking them to put it back to 2035.
Benny, can I ask a question there as well? You've seen now the German car industry is actually fighting back, saying this isn't possible, this isn't plausible, and they've managed to get the EU to backtrack. Will this happen eventually here in the UK too? Is this the way forward, to actually say what we can do with technology and not government telling you what you can do with technology?
That's a good question. Well, if the government here sticks to its plan, then you can essentially forget the British car industry, because, if Britain is the only country to go down that route, and even the EU is now U-turning and essentially giving up on the ban on combustion engine cars. Well, if Britain goes it alone, then Britain will pay the price and the car industry will be gone within years.
Jeremy, can I just ask, how desirable are electric vehicles? You're in the car industry. Would you buy one?
Well, my problem, of course, is that if I put an electric vehicle out on long-term rental, or short-term rental for that matter, I'm putting a vehicle out to a customer who then has to have access, whether to a public charging point. It's very unlikely he'll be able to charge it. He'll have a home charging point. And I'm afraid already in the rental industry, there has been some terrible stories, where people have taken, hours and hours to get vehicles returned because they haven't been able to charge them. But the essence of renting a vehicle is the fact that...
But Jeremy, we've got to get to the news. Have you got an electric car? Will you be buying one anytime soon? The answer was no, and not anytime soon. And Benny, you? Quickly, have you got...
No. It's something that only well-off people can afford, and this is the whole problem. The poor people will be punished and will have to go back on bikes.
Thank you both very much indeed.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's said everything, didn't it? The expert in the car industry. Have you got one? No.